Getting started here in just another few more moments. Well, my name is Wayne Sweeney with First World Mortgage, and welcome Litchfield County Board members to the First World Mortgage Spring 2020 lending presentation of what's new and what has not changed in today's lending world. And my colleague, Jon Pignatello, is also our team leader for our office in Torrington. And I'm going to pass this over to Jon.
Thank you, Wayne. Thanks for everybody for joining today. We just want to give you a little update on what's new in the lending world, what has changed since this virus has hit us here, and we're going to be going through that in just a few short slides. Try to keep it lively, not as mundane as looking at a slideshow. So we want to just we're going to go through it, tell you some stuff. First, we want to start off by saying First World Mortgage, family owned. We have 9 branches in Connecticut and almost 30 years of operation. Pretty awesome. First, number one CHFA lender in Connecticut. Number one FHA lender in Connecticut. Number one 203K lender in Connecticut. All awesome stuff. You could be asking yourself how we're still doing CHFA loans. That's because we have in-house underwriting for CHFA. Doesn't have to go to CHFA. We underwrite them right in-house, so we're still fully operational with CHFA. So what you need to know since the coronavirus. Income, pretty much the same, only we're going to check on the income at closing. And, if, in other words, the morning of closing, we're going to check if the borrower is still employed, if the income hasn't changed, the hours didn't go down because of what's going on here. Obviously, different industries bring different degrees of risk. Like if you're in sales, if you're self-employed, we're just going to basically check that day just to make sure everything is the way it was when you were pre-approved, pre-qualified. Wayne, anything to add on that one?
Yeah, the quick piece here is that what we're looking for is that if the person's hours have been reduced, is that income still qualifying? Because we've had situations that while the hours were reduced, they still do qualify for the loan. So the closing moves forward. Sometimes, unfortunately, they're furloughed or unemployed. That's going to have to put a pause on the transaction until they're back to work. And we have a full 30-day history there of them back at work. And then we can go and move forward. So that's how that process works. By the way, anyone in the audience have any questions, please ask. You can raise your hand. You can use the chat function. So we want to help keep this as interactive and beneficial for you as possible.
Assets, business as usual. So nothing has changed with assets. Reserves may be required with certain programs eventually. Nothing right now. So assets is pretty simple. It's just as it was. All right, so credit, this is where things have gotten stricter, if you will. Many lenders are holding at 680. So First World, we're at 660. FHA is 660. As you all may know, FHA used to be 580. Now it's 660. CHFA, no change. It was pretty, obviously pretty awesome. Like I mentioned before, we're still doing CHFA loans. We're still underwriting in-house. So CHFA, nothing changed. If we have a borrower coming from another lender and the other lender had different, things that they needed, more money down, they didn't meet their DTI, we could pull credit again. It's okay to pull it within 30 days. So we'll just pull it again in 30 days. It doesn't hurt them. They're just getting a second opinion on what we can do as opposed to the other lender. If we see anything on there that could help them, they have to pay down their Amazon card, They have to pay off a small Lowe's credit card to get them to qualify, to get them to that next tier or a better rate. We have something called Rapid Rescore, which is an option that we use, which they pay off that card, they pay down that card, and we rescore them to qualify them.
Any questions on credit? Okay, we're good.
All right, so appraisals are still required on all purchases. We just obviously, the appraiser is going to come there, gloves on, mask on, leave the lights on, leave the doors open, the attic, leave it down, the basement door, leave it open. We just want to get them in and out as quick as possible. All safety precautions are going to be in play here. Waivers are available for refinances, but with certain refinances, if you're looking to take money out, like a cash out refinance, and you did some work to the house, you kind of want to get that appraisal, because that means that if you want to get some money out, and maybe the house is worth more than when you first bought it, then you're going to want that appraisal. But if not, you're looking for term and rate refinance, then waivers are available.
Any questions on our appraisal world? Collateral questions? Okay, none.
We're doing good, Wayne. Closings are a little different. So curbside closings. If you go to a closing with lawyers that we use from First World, I'm sure all lawyers are doing the same kind of precautions. They could have you outside on a bench outside, a little picnic table. If you're at their office, they're going to have the masks on. I did my own refinance, and when I went to the office, he opened up a brand new pen for me. He had masks available, gloves. So they're taking the appropriate steps to ensure everybody's safety. The 11 a.m. and later, that's because they're going to check the employment, check the pay if anything changed. Just gives them time in the 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. hour to do that. So they're asking for 11 a.m. and later. So just to verify the employment.
So a question came up here. When you were doing this checking, is it okay for them to reach out to their employer's cell phone?
No, cell phones are not going to be acceptable. They have to call a landline, and they have to speak to somebody who's in charge. So we run into issues where weekend closings could be an issue, because bosses and supervisors are only available, if they're even available from their cell phone. So usually during the week now is when the bosses and the supervisors are there. So no cell phone. Can't call a cell phone.
And we have someone else had mentioned about a law firm that actually has a drive-through type of setting for their closings. That would be another easier way of making this process work.
Yeah, I'm sure all lawyers have their own different things that they're doing, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that all the attorneys, I mean, they're trying to be as safe as possible, just like the appraisers, just like everybody, realtors.
Any other questions regarding the closing process? Okay.
So specific programs, breaking it down, just kind of go over it. FHA is now 660 plus. Used to be 580. So big change here. Hopefully, I mean, obviously after this is over, we could start, go back down. I've worked with a lot of my clients to get them up to that 660 mark, doing the rapid rescores, taking a look at their credit. Sometimes with a certain person, it takes a little longer than what they wanted, over a month to pay some things off and get that up to the 660, but they're holding at 660. There's always other options if they can't hit a 660. Like I said, we're still doing CHAFA, which hasn't changed. So that's pretty awesome. And for FHA, up to 50% debt to income. I mean, some of our investors have scaled back to 43, but if you're over 43%, 43, 47, 48, up to 50, we probably will find a home for for the loan. But the investors have scaled back too. But we still are going up to 50%, which is pretty awesome. So obviously, you see, First World handles it on a case by case basis. We have to, as long as we have those investors that are willing to go to that 50%, we should get the loan funded.
And that has been something that's been working well for us over this time. Sorry.
That's all right. Chaffa. Again, nothing's changed on our end. A lot of companies, a lot of lenders are not doing Chaffa. I just had a client call me as a referral. She was working with another lender, and the other lender, it was an FHA loan, was not doing Chaffa, was looking for 20% down because her credit was lower than the 660, was looking for 20% down. She came over to me. Her friend told her to come to me, and we had her pre-approved through Chaffa, 3.5% down. And I think it took 40 minutes just because I just wanted to check her paperwork real quick. So like I said, a lot of lenders aren't doing it. We're still doing Chaffa, and I welcome Chaffa. Obviously, I'm not going to get, nobody's getting rich off Chaffa loans, but that's not my goal. My goal is to put somebody in a house, have them, get them in a house that they want, and just see them smile at the end at the closing table. I'm not looking to, if I could put you in a house and the house is however much it costs, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not, it doesn't matter, Chaffa, conventional, FHA. We're looking at Chaffa's 45% DTI is the max, and Chaffa with down payment assistance is a little stricter, looking at 43%. Wayne, did you want to add?
Yeah. The other piece too is that with these overlays that we were referencing here, this is a recent event, and it's not something that's going to be here for the long term. And it's there, so lenders are going to be at less risk in being able to provide financing in this very challenged environment, because of the people losing jobs and forbearance issues have complicated the lending world. So it's not going to be this way forever. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thanks, John.
No problem. So this is pretty awesome. So this USDA loans are sort of overlooked sometimes, but USDA loans are no money down loans. As you can see from my colleagues here in Litchfield County, almost the whole county is green except for Torrington. So anywhere outside of Torrington is USDA territory, which is a no money down loan. There are income limits to the loan, but it's a great other choice. It's another choice for first-time home buyers. So first-time home buyers, if they don't meet the the DTI, or they don't meet the income of like a Chaffa loan with down payment assistance, they could always go USDA. The score is 660. All right, 41% debt to income recommended, and we run it locally. It's regionally approved, and there's higher income limit than the other programs. So you have to $115,000 for a family of 4, and up to $152,000 for a family of 4 or more. So the income limits, $152,000 for a family of 4 or more for a no money down loan. We could really, you could really help somebody out with that.
Yes, in context, you'd be looking at a limit of about $100,000 for the CHFA income limit. So that's quite a big differential between the two. More opportunity to qualify. Any other questions on the USDA program? Okay, moving on.
He says, I got a question here, Wayne. Are clients able to finance condos with USDA, or is it a case-by-case basis? Condos are tricky.
Condos are going to be more difficult to do through the USDA, so that is on a case-by-case basis. Predominance is that this is a single-family home program, so we would need to get something that happened to be VA or FHA approved.
Yeah, if the condo complex is FHA approved, I'm not going to say it's a better chance, but they're more open to talk, right, Wayne? Would you say?
Right. Yeah. Without that in advance, we wouldn't be able to do a spot condo approval for USDA. That program doesn't carry over to USDA.
All right. So here's my favorite topic. This is how First World Mortgage is saying yes. So we have the rapid rescore. Like I talked about before, we can run simulations to predict credit improvements. Once the client addresses the concerns, we rescore. Pay down your Amazon, pay off your Home Depot, pay down your Gap card to $50. I have a program that tells me how to get it, where to pay the bill down to, and what the credit score will be. So once they do that, they say, John, go ahead. I order the rescore, which is on the house, and no charge to the buyer, and we rescore it to get them qualified. Make sense underwriting is just how it sounds. I'm kind of biased, but I feel like our underwriters are the best in the business. But it has to make sense. An example, a buyer can't live in New Britain and he's trying to buy a house in Goshen, a multifamily, and instead of putting 25% down, he wants to say that he lives there. He's going to live there in the house in Goshen. Meanwhile, he works in New Britain. His kids go to school in New Britain. If it doesn't make sense, but if the story makes sense, if we could find a story that on why he's doing that, if he's it just has to make common sense. So if it does that, we're going to get the loan approved. We have obviously aggressive conventional and FHA DTI ratios. Before the COVID-19, we were one of the, if not the most, we were one of the most aggressive with ratios in the business. It's just, we're never going to, put a buyer in a house that they can't afford. But in order to get them to, to that point, if they're looking at 200,000 and that's 43%, and they really want, the 210,000, and they can't qualify for that because it's out of that 43% mark. I mean, when you go up to 50, 53, when this is over, that's a big difference in house. So we have that, and that's it. And then we offer home repair escrow. If you have any issues that come up, if you're one of the staircases going to the basement is missing a railing, we don't want that to stop the closing. So we would set up an escrow so everything could go smoothly. You could still close on the house, and then that money's in escrow for you to repair after the home closes.
Speeds the process along, it sounds like.
Yes, it does.
Any other questions out there? Okay. Doing good so far. So Listing Pro, this is a unique opportunity here for us to be able to help you sell some more homes with professional photography at $40 per listing. And if you had a need for a drone stills, it would be an additional $20 for a total of $60. This is a joint marketed venture. So that's why we have this custom co-marketing listing flyer that goes with it, so that we can show that it is a joint component. And this really helps save a lot of money for you on your listings. And in the current world that we're in, we also have photographers that are separate to this Listing Pro program, but the photographers do offer 3D virtual tours, and that's another means to getting that house sold in a challenging environment, particularly if the sellers are not comfortable with people coming in and out of the house for a open house, or even just to get a tour of the house prior to purchasing it. It's very easy to just go online, and it gets done very quickly.
And the pictures are pretty awesome. I actually did that for one
Yep.
of my listings on my old house there. I mean, it is professional photography. You don't have to worry about taking pictures with your cell phone or spending $180 on a photographer to come out. I mean, $60, and you have drone photos and awesome pictures. Really not bad.
Well, it's important too, because there's a need for a camera that can take that wide angle lens shot and now really give the person looking at it a better understanding of, this is the size of the kitchen or the living room. And it's just too limiting if you're using some other, or even using a cell phone camera, to be able to get that good depth of field of it and really get a better perspective on that house.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yes, we actually have somebody who's actually used Listing Pro, and they've really found a big benefit to their ability to get that house sold quickly. So thank you for that shout out. We appreciate it.
All right. So if there's any other questions, we could take them right now. But I just want to touch on something. So First World Mortgage is now going to have a presence in the Torrington area. We're opening. The office is open. 1152 East Main Street, right next to Webster Bank, next to Fishman Eye Center. So we'll be, you guys are more than welcome to walk in, introduce yourself. We're gonna be having an open house. I hope to see all you guys there, guys and girls. And I just want to say, thank you for having me today, and to explaining all the programs and everything to you. Any questions? My phone number's on there. Email, and I'll be happy to talk to you.
And then additionally, this is being recorded so that we will have this up on YouTube very shortly, so that colleagues that weren't able to get on will be able to see this. So thank you all so much for attending, and all the best to you, and sell more homes.
Everybody stay safe too.
Stay safe, yes.
Thank you.
Bye now.